Nationwide, high costs, accessibility, and lack of personnel are why many say the childcare industry is in crisis. To get a better look at the state of Michigan childcare, I talked to Bridge Detroit reporter Nushrat Rahman about her article 35% of Michigan kids under 5 qualify for childcare subsidies, but only 5% use them.
Yeah, so it's a pretty staggering statistic, and this analysis was done by the Michigan League for Public Policy and Kids Count in Michigan.
The MLPP analyzes the impact of state and federal budgets and policies on residents with low incomes, including Michigan's 683,798 children under the age of 5 as of 2019.
That's a lot of kids, right?
Right.
And so when we look at it, what we find is that roughly 1/3 of children in Michigan under 5 qualify for these childcare subsidies, right? But only 5% actually received those credits. What this really looks like is just this wide gap between the availability of assistance and families who are able to tap into it. That's just talking about childcare. But if we look at food assistance, nearly 50% of young children in Michigan were eligible for food assistance benefits.
Wow.
However, only a quarter were enrolled to get that support. And if we look at cash assistance, right? So these are families who need cash assistance. 2% received the cash assistance, despite 11% of kids under 5 qualifying for it.
There's also something that you mentioned in your article, which is the childcare deserts. So,
Yeah.
just explain really quick what a childcare desert is and how prevalent that is here in Michigan.
So what the researchers from the Michigan League for Public Policy and Kids Count of Michigan found is that, an estimated 44% of Michiganders live in what's called childcare deserts. So these are places with a lack of childcare providers. And if we break it down a little bit more, these are places where just the ratio of like kids to childcare providers just isn't like 1 to 1, right? I talked to one of the, folks over at the Michigan League for Public Policy and Kids Count, and they mentioned that that's one of the reasons that could be behind just like the, parents not being able to use these subsidies is the fact that childcare providers, it's just like difficult to kind of get a childcare provider because there isn't that many. And I think the pandemic just really illustrated the upheaval that the childcare industry went through. Like there was already a shortage of early childhood educators. Now the industry is facing issues with like recruitment and retention because a lot of the workers, make low pay. So, there's been like federal injection of like ways to help the industry out, but there are multiple factors that are kind of at play here.
Early childhood education is foundational to a child's social development, academic success, and economic mobility. It's also a key investment in the future success of our state. So, that said, what type of action is the state taking to try and, close these gaps, to try and make these things available? What is the state doing?
So last year, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, she unveiled a $1.4 billion plan to expand affordable childcare with federal dollars. And so what that has looked like so far is, licensed childcare workers can now get a $1,000 bonus, right? So there's some movement there. Since then, the state has raised the income eligibility for childcare subsidies, so these credits, to 185%. Basically, what that translates to is like a family of 4 making, more than $49,000. Basically, what that means is that more families are eligible for this childcare subsidy through 2023. And then, there's a little bit of a change afterwards, but what researchers say is that that needs to continue. It's a good thing that more families are eligible, but we need to kind of continue making strides in order to continue helping the youngest Michiganders.
Most recently, Governor Whitmer has called for expanding Michigan's Great Start Readiness program that provides free preschool to eligible 4-year-olds to $456 million. Where do you feel we are headed when it comes to childcare in Michigan? Are we headed in the right direction? And are we going to get to a place anytime soon where these gaps are at the very least a little lessened?
I'm not like a policymaker or anything like that, but I think reports like this kind of highlight the gap. And I think the important thing is to really listen to what's happening on the ground. So listening to, these childcare providers, these local businesses who are doing this work. I think one of the important things to know is that a lot of the times childcare responsibilities fall on women, like working moms. And so listening to working moms and working parents, moms and dads, to see like what they need in order to kind of help them out.